All right, shalom, shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. But the name of this lesson is going to be entitled, Salaki, give me 1 second. You learned the so-called white man culture. Now it's time to learn your culture. You learned the so-called white man culture. Now it's time to learn your culture. All right, so what our people have woken up to the truth, they find that they Hebrew Israelites, right? They think that's the end all be all, knowing that they're Israelite. They don't go into any extensive studying, right, and breaking down these scriptures or getting a greater wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They just cool with being so-called Israelites in America, but yet still conforming to the so-called white man way, this American way. Still eating they used to eat, still doing whatever they want to do, still celebrating these pagan holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Valentine's Day, you name it, right? Easter. So we're in a Passover right now, and that's something. And we know that the Christian church has literally failed our people because they don't know nothing when it pertains to the scriptures, right? For the most, they don't know that we have holy days that we're supposed to, it's not a requirement, but this is a part of our culture. That's what makes our culture. That's what makes a culture a culture. The customs, all right, the way you live, the what you do and what you don't do, right? That's what makes a culture a culture. What you eat, how you dress. All right. And we understand that we're in captivity, but this truth is literally going to set our people free in the mind, right? But they don't want it though. They want to stay under their slave master, as the Jake woman did in the video I posted a few days ago. They're going to show y'all people sick. All right. So let me get into this lesson. So I'm going to go to this term culture. And what happens to our people is they've been culturally assimilated to the American way, right? Matter of fact, let me go to that first. Then I jump back to this. And our people trust in oppression. Let me go here. It says the culture of the United States. Babylon the Great. It says the culture of the United States of America is primarily of Western and European our origin, which would be these Edomites. Yet it yet its influences includes the cultures of African American, so-called, to be your Israelites. All right. Asian American, Latin American, that'd be the so-called Latin tribes, and Native American, which would be the so-called Native American tribes of Israel, and Pacific Islanders, American peoples, and their cultures. It says the United States has its own distinct social and cultural characteristics, such as dialect. That's why people speak English. They, broke you from your language and changed your name, right? And beat in your head English. We spoke Hebrew. It says music. You got this, pretty much this music puts you on a demonic vibration, right? Especially like this new music, so-called rap music. All right, this music is bugged out. It pushes idolatry. It pushes sin. It pushes the lust of things of the world, right? It said arts, social habits. So our people have been acclimated to the social habits of the so-called white man in every way that you can think of, right? They pattern themselves after the so-called white man, whether they know it or they don't know it. It says cuisine, which this American diet is one of the worst diets in the world. Hot dogs, fast food, French fries, soda pop, right? So on and so forth, which is destroying these people. That's why this is one of the most obese countries in the whole world. And it has the highest rates of diabetes and high blood pressure, so on and so forth. It says in folklore, right, which is bugged out. It says the United States is an ethnically and culturally diverse country. That's why, this place is Rome, right, all over again, because Rome was a melting pot. And what is America? The same concept. It's a melting pot. All these countries come over here and pitch their tent here, right? The so-called live the American dream, right? But that's starting to fade away. It says as a result of a large-scale European immigration, which would just be Edomite immigration throughout its history, it's hundreds of indigenous tribes which they murdered and killed and destroyed, and cultures. And though African American slavery followed by emancipation. See, you devils got a track record. You got a paper trail, and they go to show y'all people is in compliance with their oppressor because they're not pissed off about being enslaved. They not pissed off by having their little babies fed to alligators. They not pissed off by being raped. They not pissed off by being totally destroyed. They not pissed off by giving Christianity, giving a so-called white man for you to worship. They not pissed off about Jim Crow laws. They not pissed off about all the injustices that continue to happen to this very day. They not pissed off about being in poverty, all right? Because they worried about themselves. American, all right? So basically, let me go back here. So that's this American spirit, right? This Babylonian spirit. Let me start right here. And this is called assimilation. So our people been culturally assimilated under the so-called white man. It says assimilation, Salakia. Okay, is an anthropology and sociology, the process whereby individuals or groups of different ethnic heritage are absorbed into the dominant culture of society. And what's the dominant culture? The so-called white man way, right? The way they do that, our people envy their oppressor, right? It says the process of this assimilating involves taking on the traits of the dominant culture, that's the so-called white man culture, to such a degree that it is that the assimilating group becomes socially indistinguishable, Salakia, from other members of society. So everybody is patterning themselves after the so-called white man way. Right here, I'm gonna read some more. As such, assimilation is the most extreme form of acculturation. Although assimilation, Salakia, this thing just jumped on me, man. It says, although assimilation may be compelled through force or undertaken voluntarily, it is rare for a minority group to replace its previous cultural practices. Completely, completely religion. It says food preference, which would be this American diet, right? And the religion would be Christianity, primarily, right? It's, all right, Salakia. It says food preferences, the physical distance between people in a given social situation. It says aesthetics are among the characteristics that tend to be most resistant to change. But you get it. Like our people have been assimilated to the so-called white man way, right? So let's open up with this first scripture. This is the book of Isaiah 30 and 12. Wherefore thus said the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word. So the sentiment of our people is they got every kind of rebuttal when it comes into the scriptures, the truth of the scriptures, right? They don't like it because they so used to this tap dance, all love Christianity doctrine, right? And that's what they've been assimilated to. And the so-called white man taught them that. They taught them to love their enemies, right? And now people don't understand that they have to be relearned again. So when it comes into the scriptures, the correct understanding, what our people tend to do before we can break the scriptures down, they tend to buck up and start to bug out, right? And they try to tell us that ain't what that mean because you despise this word. So our people used to the song and dance, the love doctrine of Christianity that they oppressor taught them. When anything comes other than that, they despise the word and trust in oppression. So our people literally trust in the so-called white man that's did everything under the sun to destroy them. And it's literally destroying them to this very day. You know how sick in the head you got to be? All right, that's why most of our people not making it about here and trust in oppression. So that means if it's oppressor, that means they have to be oppressing someone, right? And perverseness. So the so-called white man is perverse. He's opposite of what's right. He calls our people to stay dwelling and wilding in sin, man, and stay there on. So our people not trying to come off the BS, man. They trying to stay on the BS, man. All right, so let's go to this term oppressor. Salakia. So this word oppressor, it says a person or group that exercises authority or power over another in a harsh and burdensome way. So is this not the sentiment of our people? But our people don't want to hold this devil accountable because they under some called Stockholm syndrome and under this hell of a drug called Christianity, what makes you lose cognitive sense of what you're doing, like you under the influence of a drug. And that's a hell of a drug. It's a oppressor, someone who treats people in an unfair and cruel way and prevents them from having opportunities and freedom. Is this not the sentiment of our people? They've been marching for so-called equality, man. All right, marching for justice, trying to get a, trying to be equal to these devils when the Most High set you up over all these nations. All right. All right, Proverbs 3 and 31, it says, envy doubt not the oppressor. So you don't try to copy the so-called white man. You don't pattern your way of life after them, man. That's what's wrong with our people today. They've tried to live this lie and it has not worked. It has destroyed us. All right. The so-called white man got his way that he lived, and you so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans had a way that you were supposed to live. Separate. That's what makes you holy. Holy means separate. To be not copying the people around you, man. All right, and trying to be like them and try to acclimate yourself to them, man. All right, and choose none of his ways. So you choose none of these devil's ways. All right, and ways goes back into the path, right? That's one of the words that it goes back to, and their ways would be all the things that they have pushed and promoted to you as truth. All the things that they said that you need to accomplish in this society, man. All the things that you have to do to be a renowned of this world. All right. Our people literally don't know the Most High, man. They're in love with this devil culture. And that's why the Lord sent, men to teach this Bible correctly. And a lot of our people buck up against the Bible. They'll say that's a white man book because they haven't been given the truth of it. So they know that what they've been taught has been a lie, but they don't know how to disconnect from what they've been taught to understand the truth of it. They just push the Bible from them all the way together, which they pushing the truth away. Jeremiah 4 and 22, for my people is foolish. They don't know shit. They have not known me. They are sottish children. When you go to this word sottish, it means stupid. So we ain't just saying this for no reason. We're channeling the Lord through us, man. So this is words. And they have none understanding. So our people don't have no understanding about the truth. They got understanding on all this other bullshit, man. That's unprofitable. All right. They think of a so-called man of God is in a suit and tie and sitting in this pulpit on a pagan Sunday. They are wise to do evil, so our people get creative to do their wickedness, man. All right, all kind of shit they come up with. But to do good, they have no knowledge. So doing good, our people prefer to do what's wicked, right? They love evil. They love wickedness. So if you loved it, how can you do good? And what is good? It ain't according to what the world say good is. It's according to these scriptures, man. All right, how can you do good when you steady doing idolatry? All right, let's go here. And the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So our people been given this culture right here. Let me go to this word culture before I close it out. It says culture. This heavy right here. The customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. Right here, culture. The meaning of culture is the customary beliefs. That's heavy because most of our people and in the hell of a drink called Christianity. It says social forms and material traits of racial, religious, or social groups. So our people have copied and emulated and made that truth of the so-called wet man way. It says culture is an umbrella term encompasses the social behavior, institutions, norms found in human societies. Running out of time. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadah, Shalom.